Welcome to Tailboard Talk with
Chris Rasmussen,
Craig Nelson, and Jeff Wallin. Every month we explore different topics of interest to you, our cohorts in fire and emergency services. So whether you sit back and listen, sound off on the message board, or call in live to be part of the conversation, we welcome you to join us in our mission to improve the fire service for those we serve and those we serve beside. Now coming to you live from the Great White North, this is Tailboard Talk on Fire Engineering Talk Radio.
Hey, welcome to Tailboard Talk for a hot Friday in August. This is Jeff.
This is Craig.
And Chris.
And
Matt.
Hi.
Matt.
So we got a guest here. The good old year of 2025, and it's the summer, and it's hot, and it's been rainy, and so there's a lot of flipping mosquitoes out there.
Yeah. It's horrible.
Yeah. They are swarming.
Yeah. I don't like them.
No.
Is that fair enough to say?
Yeah, one of our unique features here is we've got flat land and clay soil, and so water ponds and mosquitoes breed, and you get chased back in the house.
Corn sweat. You want to talk about corn sweat? You don't even know what corn sweat is, do you, Jeff?
No, not really. No, I'm an office guy.
Be another show.
I didn't know there was that much material on corn sweat.
Oh, it's a huge. I could talk
Fun with
about
it.
it. Raises the humidity. That's all I'm going to say. What's
Yeah,
new?
let's do that.
It's been a month. Been a while.
You're just going to leave us hanging? How much does it raise the humidity? Little, a lot?
1 acre is like 20 or 2,000 something kilograms of mercury. I don't know what.
Farmer Chris.
Yeah. Oh. Oh.
All I know is I'm surrounded by corn in my house and it's sweaty.
You got so
Sure.
technical so fast there.
And how about the changing over to sweet corn? What does that do to
No.
the
I don't
to
know.
the level?
There's not enough of it out there.
Yeah. Okay.
Small plots.
Gotcha.
So-
yeah,
We have some new happenings in Fargo, at least. We recently went out to Denver for our CPSE, Center for Public Safety Excellence accreditation hearing, and got reaccredited for the next 5 years. That was our fourth time through it. A lot of work we put into that. Really a great process, a ton of work, but really a great process because it has us really analyze what we're doing, how we're doing it, why we're doing it. But then it's also looked at by outside people from the outside. So other fire personnel from around the country actually come to our department. They look at our documents, look at what we're doing, how we're doing it, ask us questions, and then leave with a suggestion, a list of suggestions on how we can improve. And I just think it's such a valuable process. It's uncomfortable, especially in the early years, because you're really letting somebody come in and look under the hood of your fire department. So it's uncomfortable because you have that fear. Oh my gosh, are they going to find something that's just crazy bad? But the more you do it, the more you get used to it. And then we're to the point where we look forward to it. We want to hear, where do you think we're weak? Where can we improve? And then that's what we're going to target the next 5 years, is trying to make improvements in those areas. So that was really a big deal for our department, our organization. And then our neighboring West Fargo Fire Department also got accredited at the hearings this last week, and they went through for their first time. So this was their first time through being the accreditation process. Congratulations to them. Again, it's a big deal. It's a lot of work. And they became the fourth department in North Dakota to become accredited.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, yeah, very excited for them, excited for us. And now we look toward the future and we work on the suggestions that we were given.
Yeah, it's a interesting process. We break it up throughout the year to get it done, and we every year we're hitting our topics and or our performance indicators. And I like it. I really like it because it gives you a chance. If you didn't have this program, I don't think we'd evaluate our programs as often as we do.
And I don't
That
know.
is the biggest selling point to me. It's not the sticker. It's not anything like that. It's, actually sitting down, looking at our own programs and going through, and then having someone bring up some ideas. It was great to have them in town, sit down and visit with, I had a couple performance indicators and sit down and visit with the individuals and have ideas and things I've not thought of and things I agree and disagree with. But that's all part of it. It's conversations you have with them. So
Yeah. And it's the bringing people in from the outside, because we're not real effective or accurate at evaluating ourselves. Imagine that. There's a little bias involved.
No mirrors.
Especially, I like to say, especially as firefighters, myself as a firefighter, if you ask me how good our department is, I'm going to say we're awesome.
No.
And that's where the importance of bringing somebody else in to go, hey, you're doing these things. Because that's the other thing. They also tell us what we're doing well. They go, hey, here's some exemplary things you're doing that are either new to the fire service or cutting edge, or you're just doing really well. They touch on that stuff along with the suggestions for improvement. But it's one of those things where sometimes the things that make us really good at running into burning buildings don't make us so good at like evaluating ourselves, for example. Right. So we're very confident as a whole, as a group, which makes us good at running into a burning building. But when it comes to actually being objective at analyzing ourselves, you're always going to have a bias evaluating yourself. So you bring in others to actually look at it from an outside lens, an outside perspective, and a more unbiased, objective perspective.
And we bring in all ranks throughout the department to get involved. So as we move forward and people retire or move on and then they move up, they're familiar with what the program is and how to evaluate. So I think it's making them better. That's definitely doing that. And I just think it's good. Our union's involved. I mean, it's all kinds of different players. They meet with our city administration. They present it to them, tell them what we're doing good and what we could work on, those things. That helps us sell some things to them too. So,
and it gives us that, are we doing things the way we should? Because they use national standards as guidelines. And we actually set the standards based on what our community needs or what our community wants, both the residents and the administration and the elected, or I shouldn't say both, all three of those groups. What do they want from their fire department? And so then we set our benchmarks, our goals based on that. But it really make sure that we're following, like I said, to start with the standards. So they're going to come in and are you following NFPA for your turnout gear? Does your turnout gear not only meet the standard? Is it under 10 years old? Is it? So it's about making sure we're doing things the right way. And if you're not, making sure you have a plan to work that direction and make sure your people are safe. And one of the other pieces that is really creates a lot of the work is it's a very, very thorough process in that they look into every aspect of what it takes to make a fire department run. So that includes the governance, the finance, the human resources. Do you have hiring policies in place? Do they meet local laws? Do they meet national laws? Do they follow guidelines? Are they fair, objective, valid? All of those things, they're going to come in and ask about that from your hiring processes all the way up through your promotional processes. And then it rolls into health and safety. You know, what do you have for policies? What do you have for programs for your own personnel, both physically, mentally, fitness-wise? And so it's very comprehensive. Looks at your training. What training do you do? How often do you do it? What are your requirements? What curriculums do you follow?
Yeah, no, I think it's a very good organization, very good program that we're involved in. Proud to be accredited. This is our fourth time going through it, so it keeps you on your toes. You don't just sit back and coast, you know. So I think those are good things. So yeah, it was great to see. It was a full department's work involved, and good to go up to the hearings and have it for another 5 years.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Yeah. We're hot on your heels.
That's what I hear.
Yes. Yeah, so we are going through our first accreditation process ourselves in Moorhead, and we are shooting for the spring for the spring meeting next year to hopefully become accredited. So we had a period of time where we were working on things in earnest, and over the summer with training and rental housing goals and with other issues going on with budgets and contracts, kind of gotten a little bit sidetracked, but looking forward to getting back on that here in the next week or two and having a pretty consistent push with people at all levels of our department as well too. Heavy involvement by the chief officers, and then a secondary involvement by captains, and then having some firefighters that are specialists in some areas also being brought into the process. And we are looking for ways to involve the union on our side, but we definitely have union membership that are members at all levels working on the performance indicators and trying to evaluate where we are standing. The first time through, there's a lot you don't know, and there's a lot you discover that you could be doing better. And it's hard to resist the temptation to stop and start fixing some of the things before continuing on and thoroughly evaluating yourself and saying, give yourself 5 years to do this work, unless there's something critical that truly needs to be addressed immediately. But we will work through that. And I'm confident when we get done, we'll have products that with some evaluation, with some tweaking, with some work, will hopefully be credible. But you don't know truly how it is until you really get in the middle of it.
Right.
The few that I have written, I tend to want to overanalyze.
But it's stuff that I never thought about before. So like I said, it dives in. It's so comprehensive. It dives into the details. I think of the training category, and well, they want to know, do you have equipment lists? Do you maintain that equipment? Where's the maintenance records? So it's not just, do you have a training division or a training group in your organization or a training officer? It's all the stuff that comes along with that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, if you look through the performance indicators, there are some critical criteria that you have to have, obviously, but then there's some other topics that aren't labeled as critical criteria. So if you're not doing something, that's okay to say you're not doing something. And then it's okay to, say, here's our current plan. We're going to try to address it. And that's okay. And that doesn't eliminate you. You don't have to be doing all these things. It's like, okay, yeah, I recognize that. Here's the plan. I mean, that's the way I guess I look at it. I don't know what the guy sitting at the main table looks at it like that, but that's, if you're failing at it, you're failing at it, and you want to get better. And that's the idea of it. That's
kind of the point is just owning it, not being embarrassed or not being defensive, just going, yeah, we probably need to look at that.
Yeah, we should do that.
Yeah. Because there's not a perfect organization out there, believe it or not.
Right.
There are a lot of high performing organizations, but no, let's identify where we can improve and then make those improvements.
I think it's a roadmap. It's a basic template on fire service that you can do it. You don't have to do it exactly how everyone else does it, but you can, if you have a program in place and how you do it, what's best for your citizens or best for your department.
Well, and that's kind of what goes along with it. It's a process of continuous self-improvement.
Yeah.
And so when you look at it, this was our fourth go around through it, and you go through this every 5 years. We've been doing this. We first got accredited in 2010. So we're 15 years into it. And if you add in the 3 years before the initial one, we're really 18 years into this. And we came away with a list of things to improve on. And West Fargo went through for their first time, and they came away with a list of things to improve on. And ideally, then they're 15, 20 years down the road, they're still going to be getting those lists of, oh, you can improve this because you fix one thing, and then, well, now we can move on to looking at other things. But it's that continuous improvement, not, oh, we got credited, because I remember having those thoughts too when we initially did it, and a lot of people having the discussion of, we got accredited, we're done. We don't need to do that anymore. And that's completely the opposite of what it really is. It's, okay, you achieve this, now you can keep going. It's really more the way to look at it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was one of the really big events that happened for us recently.
I should have congratulated Dan when we were together today this afternoon.
Yeah, it's a big lift with a smaller department that is newer into full-time staffing, and a lot to take on. They've really done a lot over there, and it's exciting for them to move that direction.
Yeah. So what else is going on, Craig?
Well, as long as I'm coming up with ideas or thoughts on what's new, what's happening, we just started a new recruit academy class, and that we are doing a joint recruit academy in our area, including Fargo, Moorhead, and West Fargo fire departments. So we have 3 fire departments that it goes across state lines and goes across city lines. that we combine and share resources, share instructors to put on a recruit academy. It allows us to have bigger classes more often. And so then instead of running into that, you hire one person at a time or two, and it's tough to give them real great training when you only have one or two. Well, now you combine with other fire departments and you have a bigger class, and then you have a resource or a pool of instructors to pull from. But anyways, that just launched today, and the 3 Metro Chiefs kind of introduced themselves and gave some.
Yeah, and had the opportunity to share, if you want to say, tips for motivation, tips for success, but maybe what people who have been in the fire service for a long period of time would want to share with new people when you get on board, having that welcome to the fire service type conversation. And so it was nice to have 3 chiefs there to give 3 different perspectives on how to be a successful firefighter for your career, or in other words, how to be a successful public servant, really. The same would apply in many other public safety areas, but one of my takeaways on my career is that every individual has the opportunity to formulate their own opinion, their own morale, and decide what's going to be their motivator in the fire service, because you're not always going to be around laughing, happy people who share all of your ideas and feel that life is a bucket of sunshine. But it's real easy to get pulled in one direction or another at one time or another in your career. And you really have the say over how dedicated you are to serving the citizens, the reason why we all got into the job in the first place, and being able to rise above petty issues, or the third time you're on a medical call where it doesn't seem like you're making a difference today. And that can really work on your morale and your attitude. If you feel like, I'm not here doing a good job, but we are here to do that good job, to make a difference, make people's lives better, to save lives and property when we can. And there's also the mundane parts of the job that come along with it. And it can be easy to lose your focus on this. But, one thing I shared with them is that there's one date in the fire service that sticks in my mind, and that's April 18th, 1994. And that was the date that I started as a full-time firefighter with the city of Moorhead. And I couldn't tell you when I've started or quit any other job that I've had on the side or before working at the fire department. And I also couldn't tell you what dates I got promoted to one rank or another. I could tell you a year. I might have to go to a resume of mine to see the details, but that date was life-changing for me. And it transformed what the focus of my life was going to be, what my work was going to be about. And while we might have trials and tribulations at work, and they're different at different levels, as a chief, you've got different issues that weigh you down at times. But I've barely had a day where I said, I don't want to come into work today. We're still here to serve. To support, as a fire chief, to support the team, to support the city and the other department heads in all of our missions, to support providing the service to the customers and keeping our employees safe while we're doing that, and advocating for the needs that we have and trying to improve conditions in the fire department to improve the service that we deliver is all a huge thing for me. And I can't say that I've ever had a job that I cared that much about. It's the best job in the world, if you ask me. It's the best job I've ever had. And I will cherish all the different positions that I've had in the fire department. And for those people starting now, you don't know what your future holds for you, but you can decide how you're going to approach the situations and what your attitude is going to be about it. And I know a couple of the other chiefs there had words of advice about supporting your team, and that we fail or succeed as a team. And the team is here to cover our individual short-sightedness or errors that we commit. Nobody's perfect. Just like we talked about earlier, no department is perfect. And hey, if we're supporting the team and supporting delivering service to the customer, we will catch each other when we stumble or fall or have something that we miss. And we need to be dedicated to the customer and to the team. And that means we need to be training constantly and regularly for those low frequency, high impact events that occur where it makes a huge difference if you're prepared. And it might be a once in a career or 3 times in a career type of call that you're going on, but we need to be just as prepared to handle those as we do the routine medical calls that we go to and the bread and butter structure fires that we deal in residences. So I think that was kind of in a nutshell, but Craig might have a few other comments from what he said.
I thought it's always a fun day or a fun session. it's not a whole day. It's a shorter session, but
Sounded like it.
it really launches the, somebody wouldn't cut talk on it.
You know me, I dominate the conversation in this show.
It launches, it welcomes the recruits. It's an official message from the leaders of the organizations. So it's really important, but it's fun for them to get words of wisdom, words of advice from each of them too. And when you said that, I remember you saying that earlier, that I remember the date I started, and I started thinking about it, and I went, yeah, I remember the day I started too. It was May 5th, 2003. Matt and I started together.
Oh, wow.
But I don't remember any of the dates when I got promoted.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
in a way, it shows the importance of the day you join that department, you join that team, is really so significant and really is a big deal, because you're joining that team in a lot of cases, in most cases, for many, many years. And so that was funny to hear you say that, because I'm going, yeah, I remember the day I started, but other than that, I don't remember any other dates.
It's always been about the team. It's always been about the department.
Yeah.
The culture. It's been about the relationships that you have there at work, the people that you might be friends with outside of work, and the people you wouldn't be friends with outside of work, but you still are a team, and you still figure out how to, in essence, live together while you're working at shifts on the station, because you've got your work time, and then you've got that personal time after your normal hours, where it gets into choices of what you want to spend your free time on while you're waiting for that next call, what time you go to bed, what things you're talking about. You get to learn everything about each other's families and anything about, your lives. I mean, you'll never be as close to another group of people, except maybe your direct family. And you don't get that with other careers, not in the same degree, in the same way. It's such a unique facet. And if you forget about just all the joy that comes from that and the fulfillment you have by making a difference in the community, in all sorts of ways, not just putting out fires, but in the day-to-day interactions, you might go to the weirdest dang call that you would just handle quickly and move on at home. But for that person who called you, they might be at the end of the rope over that. They can't see a way out. They truly don't know where to go next. And to help somebody get back to normalcy and to help resolve whatever that issue is, I mean, that's rewarding. What other job do you have where you can do that? You can build a lot of doors at a door plant and have doors for people to open in their homes, and that's cool because we need doors. But I mean, you're there when somebody truly feels like they don't know what to do about this.
I think it brings up a lot of great memories, a lot of great experiences, and working with a lot of great people over the years. It reminds you of those great times you had working with great people. And then when you're launching a new academy, a new class of recruits, it excites you for their future and makes you think about all the great people you have working in your organization that are doing those great things, and the impact that you have on the community. And I even pulled out the Chris Rasmussen quote today with the recruit class after the Chiefs were done, and gave them it's a get-to job, not a got-to job.
Yeah.
And you get to be a firefighter.
Yeah.
You get to do this. And it's remembering that's again, going back to day one, I get to be a firefighter, and holding on to that through your whole career. I get to be a firefighter. It's a great
Most
feeling.
people don't. And most people really respect the people that serve in the fire service. They trust you to come into their homes to take care of their family members. They haven't met you before. They haven't vetted you. They don't know where your politics are. They don't know what kind of a person you are, but they trust the people in the fire service that when we're called, we come, we serve, we don't ask questions, we don't judge, we try to make things better. And then we go back to the station and wait for the next one. And what other business has that? What other service industry has that kind of level of trust that you would allow that, and you would just trust the opinions and the decisions that people are trying to help you with in that time of need? It really is a get-to job. We're not the same as like astronauts, but if you put it in the astronaut kind of term, a select few people in the world get to be astronauts. It's a lot of work. There are time demands on your family and your home lifestyle that will change, and you can't have it's not like a normal job. You're not going to have the same type of time with your family. And there's a commitment and a dedication to train, learn, and grow and be prepared for that mission. But it's very rare that you run across an astronaut that says, yeah, I was an astronaut. I was in that for a while, but it kind of sucked. I didn't like it. I hated that. And we get to be firefighters. We get to be public servants. Very, very rewarding. And we just got to make sure we never lose sight of that. And if we don't, we're just going to have a wonderful career, first of all. And we're really going to rock our service when we do that.
I think one of the most exciting things about what we have in the Metro is the Metro. It was 3 distinct separate departments. And now with the Metro Academy, you see these, probationary firefighters come on and they have relationships because they've been to the academy with other Metro firefighters. And that builds a huge relationship that we didn't have before. There was some definite, I still feel it coming from Fargo to Moorhead. There's still some animosity that, Fargo guys, because we don't know each other.
Yeah.
For me, it's great going on calls and interacting on those calls where we're together. That's family across the river. When we're on a river rescue, when you hear them and you know them by name on the radio, there's a comfort factor. And with this Metro Academy, I think that's great because everybody's sending probationary firefighters to go through like the hardest stretch of time to start your career off and forming those bonds with other Metro firefighters. And so now when we talk to our newest firefighter in Moorhead, he's like, yeah, I was in academy with these people and you know them because you worked hard every day. And that's great relationships.
Yeah. We're on our 13th.
Yeah. 13th
academy. So
joint. Yeah.
So we're looking at probably 5 years worth of joint academies, almost 5 or whatever it is. There's a group in the metro area that have been together and know each other for the last 5 years. The only reason I knew any Moorhead guys is I was on the hazmat team with them.
Yeah,
if I wouldn't have had a joint hazmat team at that time, I wouldn't have known any Moorhead guys.
Yeah.
And I still, West Fargo, I never started with any of those guys. Obviously, I meet them in meetings and we meet them in training and we'd work together and do those things, build those relationships. But that is the most important. Matt is on the same shift as I am across the river. So if something goes on, it's very comfortable getting together. We can talk and discuss it. We know each other, help each other out real quick. Instead of waiting and trying to feel each other out and who's the boss and all those things, we're just going to work together and we're going to get things done.
And we have joint training sessions on a couple different areas. So we're training on live fire evolutions on an annual basis and swapping crews between all 3 of the departments that we're coming together in a few different ways to train together and get to know each other. We have got Asher training that we do jointly across the Metro. So it's another opportunity to get together and train with all of the other people that will show up if we have that type of incident.
Right.
So you know the faces that you've talked to them, you get to know them a little bit. And then there's that trust that you build when you're out there, that you could form some ad hoc teams, where you could be side by side crews that are going in and doing victim recovery at one of those incidents.
Right.
And hey, you're trusting those people when you have to work together to pull a lot of people out.
Absolutely. So it's been a good thing that we did in the community. It makes sense for all the reasons we talked about. It makes sense financially. It makes sense for facilities. It makes sense for all these other things too. Instructors, get all that going. So I think it's a good thing. I even had these young firemen around the kitchen table. They know that individual from Moorhead, or they know that individual from West Fargo. They golf. A couple of them were golfing today, and then from across the river, across the boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have never golfed with a Moorhead guy back in the day. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's
not even for a fundraising tournament once a year.
I guess.
Okay. MDA.
Yeah. No, but you know what I mean, though. It's their buddies. They hung out.
Yeah.
They went through academy together. 18 weeks of difficulty. Built each other up. Helped each other out. Brought their strengths where they needed to. Had needed help on someone else's strengths. So it's all good stuff. So we've been at 5 years now. That's how it's normal to these firefighters that have been here for 5 years. And that's been a lot of firefighters we've run through our program in 5 years.
Yeah. So where does the academy stand today? When a person completes that academy, what certifications or what training have they been through together?
The academy starts with EMT. So they all go through the EMT. And then at the same time, in the first week, they get their hazmat awareness, because they need that for the EMT. And then they go through hazmat operations during the academy. They get their firefighter 1 and their firefighter 2 certificates. And then at the end of the academy, they get their ropes certification.
Nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're coming out certified.
Ready to go.
Yeah, it obviously is. Everybody knows you need experience really to get good at this job, but it gives them the base set of skills to really start that experience learning. And so they start day one on the truck. When they hit the truck, they start running because they have all the certs. So they understand the basics. They understand the equipment. They can pull a hose line. Yeah. They can do CPR. They can do those things. But that's now they're able to learn from the rest of their crew, the senior members, their captain, etc.
Yeah, I mean, it's 18 weeks, and that's a lot. And people across the country can debate what's the proper amount of time. This just works for us. But when they graduate and they come on the shift, they need to know a lot of stuff in a fast time, and just staffing staffing type situations. They're a very important piece of the crew real quick.
I got a tour of your training facility today. It's, some form of space that other departments in the city had been using that you've kind of slowly been absorbing over time, it looks like. But they showed me that room upstairs that you've started incorporating into the academy. Do you want to touch on what you end up doing in that room?
Is that the workout area or another room?
Well, there's another room, and maybe it's new enough that you haven't been there before.
There's a new room you're not aware of.
I'm just trying to narrow down which room. There's several rooms upstairs.
Yeah, it's that room they have set up as a small residential space.
Yep. Yeah, and they use that. We use it for several purposes. We use it initially for the claustrophobia test when we hire new firefighters, when we have them put their mask on that's blacked out and just see if they can crawl around without panicking. But we also use it for EMS scenarios, so that it's like they're walking into an apartment or a bedroom, et cetera. And so it just brings a little bit more of that realism to it. And then we use it for a few different things.
Yeah. The other upstairs space that you had, you've got a workout room.
Yes. With
some basic equipment and enough space to do other activities. Touch on what you do in the academy with that.
That is primarily for the bad weather days. When we hit winter here, there's some days where we just can't go outside and do much physical training or PT. So we do that inside. And a lot of times because of the size of the class, they do circuit training up there. There's some treadmills up there, mats and some weights and a few different things that they can use to get some, especially circuit type training in up there. And that's what they use it for.
Is PT a part of the program from the beginning to the end?
It is.
Yep. And you do that to obviously teach them that it's a kind of a priority throughout their career.
Yeah.
It's not just to get through academy. It's more.
That was one of the discussions.
Both, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Early on was we didn't always do PT in an academy. And we thought it's really just not great when you do as I say, not as I do kind of thing. We wanted to make sure we're telling them to work out. Well, then we should be including that as part of their training. Mm-hmm. And we talk about health and safety and fitness and how important that is, especially when you look at firefighters and our job and our leading cause of death as firefighters, or several of the leading causes. Health, wellness, and fitness is so important. And so we're saying that up front, and then we're following through on it is really what we're trying to do. And so that starts week 1 in the academy and goes all through the academy. And what's fun is we do an initial marker and then usually a mid-class marker and then an end marker. And it's fun to see the improvement a lot of them make. We get some that come in at just these crazy high levels of fitness that you're not going to see. They're not going to see gains because they're already up there. But we see quite a few that come in that may be in that mid to lower range. And by the end of the academy, they've lost a lot of weight. You can see it in their faces. Their running times are much better. So they get to see their progress too.
And I think the Joint Academy does something really interesting with physical agility testing that most career departments are doing as a part of their onboarding process. And oftentimes it's being done before somebody is able to come to work in the first place. You have to be fit enough to be able to be here and do the job. So it's part of that conditional offer. But talk about how it's done in this Metro Academy.
In the Metro Academy, and we got this. I saw there are several other departments that are doing this on the East Coast, and also one of the first ones I saw a presentation was from Springfield, Missouri, started doing it. Because of the hiring trends we've seen more recently, we're hiring more firefighters than we ever have. A lot of times our applicants' numbers have been down. And the other piece for us was we started looking at the logistics of what it took to run an agility test prior to an academy. And really, I would have to tie up several crews for a couple days to run a high number of applicants through an agility test. And for us to do that in this day and age is just very difficult. We don't have the bandwidth to pull that many personnel in to just focus on that for a day or two or 3 in some cases. And so we just built it into the academy. So week 1 of the academy, they run the agility test. And if anybody doesn't pass it, then we're doing PT and they're working toward that goal. And we haven't had anybody that hasn't passed it by the mid test. And then there's the end test they have to pass it by. But one of the arguments that was made when I saw presentations on other organizations doing this is that, well, we're expecting these people that in some cases have no prior firefighting experience to come into our agility test, wear our equipment, use our equipment in a testing fashion, and they don't have any training on it. Mm-hmm. And so that's another reason that we're doing it, is it's the right way to do it. And I don't want to jinx it, but we find that people's fitness is a very, very minuscule part. We don't really have many issues with it. Out of all those classes, there's maybe 1 or 2 people. Because that was another concern, is what if you hire all these people and then a bunch
can't pass it?
You can take most people, and if they apply themselves, they can make it through. And that's actually where we've seen the issues, is not that the people couldn't do it, it's that they weren't applying themselves during the process.
Yeah. I just love that approach, especially when it's proven to be successful.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. We have these fears when we do this stuff. Oh, that'll never work. We can't do that. It's gonna. And then you find how I did fast that again, if we look at the data, we look at what really it works just fine. And then we run all the people in the academy through it in an hour or 2 on one morning, rather than tying up all these crews for 2-3 days.
If you watch, you go down the social media rabbit hole. Sometimes you get these guys that are just angry that the fitness level isn't there, or they're not keeping up with the guys that are talking about it and stuff. And so we do think physical fitness is very important in the fire service, and we do test all of our employees on an annual basis to meet these standards. So to bring them up into the standards, and it's worked for us. I'm not going to argue what they're arguing about, but I'm saying it's worked for us, and it's working out. And I'm seeing, and I'm not going to lie, and I need to be in the weight room more often than myself, but I see more younger people in the weight room than I have in a long time. These younger ones coming out of the academy are still in the weight room.
And I like to think a big part of that is the emphasis we're putting on it from day one. And I would say the same thing. I would argue that our department now versus 10 years ago is a much healthier department. We have much fewer people that are overweight, that are out of shape. And if you go back 20 years, it's even more dramatic. Right. And so it's about changing behaviors and habits and emphasizing health and wellness and teaching people why and how. And that's what we're doing.
Yeah. I mean, I was a 22-year-old kid walking in, and I was working with 45-year-old guys. We were not going in the weight room. We weren't even pulling hose. Yeah. You sit down in the recliner, or you do, that's what we did. And now you're seeing this kind of generation. So I think it's coming back. Can argue with these guys on social media all day long about it. We're both right. We're both right. And I think we're going in the same direction. So
it was
good to see.
Pretty fun this morning. I have a weekly training meeting with the training staff, and the recruit academy came in post-workout, PT workout, and our training battalion chief just asked him, "Oh, were you running towers this morning?" They all came in pretty happy, breathing a little bit heavy, but they all came in and he said, "Oh, did you guys have to run towers?" And they're like, "No, we're doing that tomorrow. We were flipping tires." And they're out doing these. They're active, but they have a great attitude and they're having fun doing it. So it was just really fun to see.
The one thing I like, is, I'll just add this at the end here real quick, but you do a couple times with the police department too.
Yeah.
We have
yeah.
a morning PT in the a couple times during the academy with the new PD officers.
Mm-hmm.
So they get to know each other too and help each other out.
We've really tried to, there's a few things we've tried to put an emphasis on with this academy, and we've talked about several of them, but another one is really getting to know your fellow first responders. And so what we've done is a lot of the time the police department has an academy going on the same time we do. And when that's happening, then we schedule 2 workouts with them throughout the academy. We host one and set up what they're going to do. So the police recruits come over and they flip tires with the firefighters.
Yeah.
The more the firefighter style workouts, or they drag hose with us, and then they set up a workout over at their facility, and then we go do their style workouts, and they kind of mix them up together, and so they get to know each other, because we look at it and go, they're going to be working on the streets together, hopefully for the next 20, 30 years. Yeah. So have them get to know each other, build that comfort level that we were talking about with the fire side of it. And then we also have them do a ride along with the police department too. So each recruit does a ride along during the academy, where they get to know an officer a little bit better and get to learn about and hopefully understand a police officer's job, how they do it, why they do it. Because we go to these calls together all day, every day, but we're different departments and we operate differently. We operate always as a team, and they work alone a lot more. And so it just sets up these, again, it seems like it's the same thing, but it's real easy for firefighters to go, why don't they do it like we do? Or cops to go, why don't they do it like we do? Right. And when you do that ride along, you get to know them, it kind of teaches you, oh, that's why they do this. That's why they do that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think it's a very good program. I'd highly recommend any communities out there that aren't already doing something like this to, talk to their neighboring communities. And I think it's a win-win-win. I mean, it's good for the departments. It's good for the community. I guarantee your mayor is going to love the sharing costs on stuff. Hopefully that money stays in the department and goes to something else then.
Yep. And then it generates a graduation ceremony at the end that also involves public officials.
It really, I was just talking with our chief today about this. It's really a win-win. It makes our public officials look good, and it makes our community proud that we're working together and sharing resources, because we should be. And so it's there's some financial savings in there, of course, but it's that ability to work together. When you have the big event, then it's going to go better. You're going to mitigate things faster and better. And so it makes the elected officials look good, but then the elected officials are there to support us. And so then it makes us feel good too. And so it's a win-win all the way around. And so that's one of my favorite days, is that graduation day, because you get the chiefs there, you get the elected officials there, and city administration, and to show their support, and it gives them a chance to show appreciation and introduce themselves and show how important it is. But so it really a fun, exciting time.
Yeah. And it draws all those new recruits' families in at that point in time as well too. And I've seen it's important for the families, but the public and public officials and everybody gets to see those family members coming into it too. It's another bonding opportunity and team building exercise in that. It's just wonderful.
It just gives them a chance to show how much support we have. And we're fortunate to have a lot of support from our elected officials and our communities. And so again, it just provides that opportunity. And then it lets our new firefighters see the support that we have and hear it from those elected officials.
100%.
Nice. Anything else new? I think that kind of covers it, right?
I don't know, Matt, you've been kind of quiet. Anything you want to add?
Nothing.
I got a couple of topics we'll bring off air. We'll talk about.
Sounds good. Yeah, and we got a couple in development for future shows.
Yeah.
I think this is enough of us. People can tolerate this much of us.
On a hot August day.
Yep.
I can't really tolerate myself right now, but.
Thanks for listening.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. And if you haven't made plans to go out to FDIC, hey, it's not too early.
That's April, right?
That's April.
You better people better get in. Yeah. Get them downtown
hotels before they're gone. Absolutely.
A lot of great classes.
Stay safe, and we'll see you next month.
Stay safe.
Good one.
Welcome to Tailboard Talk with
Chris Rasmussen.
Craig Nelson and Jeff Wallin. Every month we explore different topics of interest to you, our cohorts in fire and emergency services. So whether you sit back and listen, sound off on the message board, or call in live to be part of the conversation, we welcome you to join us in our mission to improve the fire service for those we serve and those we serve beside. Now coming to you live from the Great White North, this is Tailboard Talk on Fire Engineering Talk Radio.